The moment I handed my heart to another man, I didn't just betray my husband. I rewrote the ending of our marriage, and I never imagined he'd use the truth to destroy everything I thought I controlled. I'm Olivia Warren, and this is the confession I never thought I'd say out loud. For 12 years I was married to Michael Warren, the kind of man people call dependable, steady, almost unshakable. We lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, in a beautiful brick home we bought after our 7th anniversary. From the outside we looked like the perfect American couple, the kind that neighbors waved to with admiration. But inside that house, things weren't as peaceful. Michael was calm, too calm, always thinking, always observing, a man who never raised his voice, but somehow his silence could cut deeper than any argument. And me? I was the opposite. Restless, hungry for attention, validation, excitement. I blamed the marriage for my emptiness instead of confronting the truth. I was the one drifting. The trouble started small. A deleted text. A late work meeting I didn't actually attend. A lie so small it felt harmless. But lies only grow. When I met Ethan Caldwell, a charming consultant who worked with my firm, everything spiraled. He noticed me, complimented my ideas, called me brilliant. Michael used to call me brilliant, but years of routine made me forget that. And while Michael trusted me so deeply it felt suffocating, Ethan made me feel alive. I told myself it was emotional support, a harmless bond, but deep down I knew I had opened a door I couldn't close. What I didn't know was this. Michael had already felt something shifting. He sensed my distance, my hesitation, my guilt. And though he didn't confront me, he watched. He waited. He studied. He knew something was coming. I just didn't realize the quiet man I married had teeth. The betrayal didn't happen in a dramatic moment. It happened in fragments that built into a storm. It started with a business trip. Ethan and I traveled to Atlanta for a 2-day conference. I told Michael it was a group visit, a whole team attending, but it was just Ethan and me. I remember lying in that hotel room, convincing myself that I was just networking, until networking became dinner, and dinner became wine, and wine became hands touching where they shouldn't, and then every boundary shattered. The guilt afterward was suffocating, but only for a day. Then came the thrill, the secret messages, the whispered calls, the emotional fire. For the first time in years I felt wanted. But while I was busy feeding the attention I thought I deserved, I didn't know Michael had grown suspicious. He didn't show it. He didn't question me. He didn't accuse me. He simply observed. He installed a legal monitoring app on our shared computer. He checked billing statements. He watched patterns. He listened. Quietly. Methodically. One night I came home from working late, and he was sitting at the dining table completely still. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile. "Did you eat?" He didn't answer. He just studied me with eyes far too calm. The next morning, his demeanor was back to normal, almost gentler, and that terrified me more. The breakthrough, the moment everything crumbled, came when I left my phone on the counter before showering. A single notification changed everything. "Room 418 again next week? Ethan." When I returned, Michael wasn't in the house, but my phone was moved. My stomach dropped. I tried to pretend I wasn't panicking, but I knew he'd seen the message. That night he kissed my forehead before bed, something he hadn't done in months, and whispered, "Sleep well, Liv." The gentleness in his voice made my heart stop, because it wasn't kind. It was confirmation. He knew. He absolutely knew. But he didn't explode. He didn't threaten me. He didn't leave. Instead he went silent, strategic, calculating. And that silence became the loudest punishment I had ever felt. Michael's silence became a weapon. He didn't confront me. He didn't ask questions. He didn't even stop being polite. He simply changed. He stayed up later than usual, made more phone calls in private, locked his laptop, left earlier for work. I started fearing that silence more than any fight. Ethan kept pushing. "When are you leaving him? What's your plan? You deserve better." But Ethan didn't understand something crucial. Michael wasn't the kind of man you walked away from easily. Not because he was controlling or cruel, he wasn't, but because he was smart, collected, strategic. There was something in the air, like a storm building behind a mountain. silent but powerful. Then I realized the truth. Michael wasn't just hurt. He wasn't just betrayed. He was preparing for what I didn't know. But when he started gathering financial statements, old tax returns, property records, I knew. He was getting ready for a divorce. And not just any divorce. A devastatingly clean one. One where he walked away whole and I walked away shattered. In one horrifying moment I realized Michael wasn't planning to save the marriage. He was planning to save himself and bury me legally. Michael's revenge wasn't dramatic. It was legal, cold, silent, and brilliantly calculated. I found out later exactly how methodical he had been. First, he met with a divorce attorney, one of the top strategists in the state. Then he gathered evidence. Hotel receipts I thought I'd hidden. Phone logs. Text message backups. Copies of messages from my work email. Mileage discrepancies. Even a camera in the living room, legal because it was his home. He built a timeline so airtight that I couldn't deny a single second. One night he finally spoke. We were sitting in the living room. He muted the TV, turned toward me and said calmly, "Olivia, I know everything." My blood ran cold. "I'm not here to scream," he continued. "Not here to shame you. I'm here to end this the right way." I tried to speak, but he raised a hand, gentle, steady. "I'll be filing for divorce next week. I have all the evidence needed. I'm not taking revenge physically. I'm taking back my life and my future." He slid a folder across the table, the entire case laid out. Financial analysis. A fair timeline. Screenshots. Documents. Everything. My own sins staring back at me in organized sections. He wasn't emotional. He wasn't angry. He was composed, focused, deadly in his calmness. His only condition? "I want the house. I want my retirement untouched. And I want you to acknowledge fault in writing." It was silent psychological destruction, the kind you don't see coming until it's too late. And I had no defense. The divorce moved faster than I thought possible. Michael presented the evidence professionally, not vindicatively. He didn't embellish, didn't exaggerate. He simply told the truth. And the truth was enough to dismantle everything I'd built. My attorney told me flatly, "You won't win this. He's too organized, too calm. He has you cornered." I ended up losing the house, a portion of my savings, spousal support denied due to fault, my reputation in our circle, and any leverage I thought I had. Michael walked away untouchable, legally, emotionally, financially. The day the divorce finalized, he met me outside the courthouse. Not to gloat, not to humiliate, just to finish what he started. He looked at me with a calm sadness and said, "I wasn't trying to destroy you, Liv. You did that yourself. I just refused to let you take me down with you." He held out his wedding ring, then let it fall into my hand. Cold metal. Colder meaning. "That's the last piece of me you'll ever hold." Then he walked away. No yelling. No dramatic goodbye. Just finality. Watching him leave, steady, strong, emotionless, hurt more than any outburst ever could have. Ethan disappeared 2 months later, moving out of state. He'd never loved me. I was just entertainment until the fallout began. I lost everything because of one choice. And the quiet man I underestimated became the architect of my downfall. Michael rebuilt his life with dignity, and I rebuilt mine with consequence. I didn't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it because the truth is simple. Some betrayals don't end in violence. They end in silence, and in the quiet power of a man who refuses to break. And that was the day Michael stopped being the man I betrayed, and became the man I could never defeat.
If you connected with this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel Betrayal Nation. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And please help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Your support keeps these powerful stories coming.